Galloway, eHouse garden expert, and here are my tips for growing a beautiful organic garden. If you've noticed clouds of tiny insects hovering above the soil on your houseplants, you've got a problem. Indoor gnats, which are also sometimes called fungus gnats, aren't just annoying. Their larvae feed on roots and stems, and they can be a serious problem if you have seedlings, small plants, or plants with succulent stems, like this cyclamen. Luckily, you don't have to resort to using harsh chemicals to get rid of these obnoxious little pests. Here's what you need to control them organically: wine or apple cider vinegar, some sand, potting soil, and a little glass dish to pour the vinegar or the wine into. Preventing an infestation, step 1. Your first line of defense against fungus gnats is to choose healthy plants in the first place. When you're at the nursery looking at plants, don't be shy. Take off these foil wrappers. They can hide a lot of problems. Pull the pot out and check it over thoroughly for signs of insects and disease. Peer in under the stems. Insects like to hide out on the undersides of leaves, so that's a good place to look for them. Also, scuff up the soil a little bit and see if anything flies up. As for disease, you're going to want to look for any yellowing stems, drooping leaves, browning. If your plant looks healthy, then you can go ahead and bring it home. Once you get it home, though, a word to the wise: you should always isolate new plants from your healthy house plants. That way, if any little hitchhikers have hitched a ride home on your new plant, you're not going to infect all of your other house plants. So isolate them from your healthy plants for 2 weeks. If you haven't noticed any insect or disease problems after that time period, then you're in the clear and you can move your houseplant to its permanent location. Preventing an infestation, step 2. Fungus gnats thrive in a warm, moist environment. Allowing the soil to dry out between waterings kills gnat larvae and makes your plant less hospitable to adult gnats looking for a place to lay eggs. Ousting the bugs, step 1. If your plant does develop a fungus gnat problem, not to worry. The first thing you should do, though, is isolate the affected plant so the problem does not spread to your healthy plants. Ousting the bugs, step 2. Next, you can trap and drown adult gnats by pouring some apple cider vinegar or wine into a small bowl and placing it next to the plants. The gnats will be attracted to the fermenting smell, and they'll go over to investigate and then become trapped and drowned in the vinegar. Ousting the bugs, step 3. Fungus gnats prefer moist soil with a lot of organic matter, so you can make your plant less attractive by removing 1/4 inch of the soil at the top of the plant and replacing it with sand. Sand has almost no organic matter, or pretty much none at all, and is very dry, so it's going to make the top part of your plant much less hospitable to those nasty little insects. Now, I have some play sand right here, but they also sell decorative sand at nurseries. So if you're interested in decorative sand, they have them in blacks and reds and whites. You could also top your plant with that kind of sand too. Step 4. If the vinegar and sand treatments don't get your fungus gnat population under control, then you're going to need to repot the plant in sterile potting soil. What you're going to want to do is gently remove the plant from its pot, and if it's pot bound, you're going to want to tease the roots apart. If you notice any diseased or rotting roots, you could go ahead and trim those out. And then you're going to want to try and shake as much of this extra soil off, because that's where the fungus gnats are going to be hanging out and hiding. So get as much of this soil off your plant as possible. And don't worry about hurting the roots. They're pretty darn hardy. So just keep wiggling your fingers up in there, gently teasing the roots and shaking as much of that extra soil off of the roots as possible. So as you can see, it comes off pretty easily. Once you've got the roots fairly well free of the fungus gnat infested soil, then you're going to want to go ahead and repot in a fresh pot. Definitely make sure that the pot has a drainage hole. If it doesn't, you're going to cause a lot of problems for your plants. Next, you're going to take some pre-moistened potting soil. That's just potting soil that you've gotten wet already, and put some in the bottom of the pot. And you're going to then stick your plant in, spreading its roots out wide. And you're going to top that off with some additionally pre-moistened potting soil. just go ahead and dab that around the roots. You're going to want to leave about a 1/2 inch at the top so that you can water. And if you're especially nervous, since this plant has been affected by fungus gnats in the past, if you want to prevent that, you could go ahead and put a layer of sand on top right away. And that would, of course, make your plant much less attractive to the fungus gnats.